I believed our future was meant to be built on tiny miracles. Each whispered, "We're trying for a baby," a promise of love growing stronger with every heartbeat. I pictured our life expanding with laughter, little footsteps echoing in our halls, and a warmth that would light every corner of our home. That dream carried me through sleepless nights and endless hope, until one ordinary morning while tidying up our bathroom, I discovered a pregnancy test tucked behind a stack of old magazines. It wasn't mine. In that shocking moment, every cherished vow and every plan we'd made together crumbled into fragments of betrayal and heartbreak. I still remember the days before that moment. Days filled with shared excitement as we planned to start a family. We had sat for hours discussing our future, poring over baby name lists, imagining the soft sound of a child's laughter filling our home, and dreaming of lazy afternoons spent together in a park on a sunny day. Every evening, as we curled up on the couch, he would say softly, "I can't wait to see you become a mom," and I would smile, feeling the warmth of his devotion. Our conversations were a tapestry of hope and tender promises, and I truly believed that nothing could ever come between us. Our life together, though not without its challenges, was a steady rhythm of shared routines and quiet moments of joy. Mornings were spent over coffee and whispered plans, evenings were a time for gentle reflections on the day, and weekends were dedicated to preparing for the future we so eagerly anticipated. I trusted him implicitly, believing that his unwavering commitment and the loving glances we exchanged every day were the building blocks of a future filled with little miracles. I was ready for the next chapter, a chapter where our love would expand into something new and beautiful. Then came the day that shattered everything I thought I knew. It started like any other morning. I woke early, the light of dawn streaming softly through our bedroom window, and I went about my usual routine. After breakfast, I decided to tidy up the bathroom, organizing drawers and scrubbing surfaces until everything sparkled. As I reached into a forgotten corner of the vanity, my hand brushed against something small and plastic. Curiosity piqued, I pulled it out and realized with a sinking heart that it was a pregnancy test. I froze. The test lay there, its result clearly positive, but it wasn't mine. I didn't recall taking one. We had been anxiously waiting for our own test results, hoping for a little miracle to confirm our dreams. Instead, I held in my hand evidence of a pregnancy that was not mine, a hidden secret that I had never been a part of. At that moment, my mind reeled. I sat on the cold tile floor of our bathroom, the pregnancy test trembling in my grasp, as a torrent of emotions crashed over me. Shock, disbelief, and a deep, gnawing betrayal mingled in my chest. Every memory of our loving conversations, every tender promise of our future, now felt like a carefully constructed illusion. How could this have happened? What secret had he been keeping from me? My thoughts spiraled in a dark, painful whirl, and I felt as if the very foundation of our life together was crumbling beneath me. In the days that followed, I found myself trapped in a maze of confusion and heartache. I tried to go about my usual routine, but everything felt tinted with a sorrow I couldn't shake. I replayed every conversation in my mind, every time he had mentioned plans for our future, plans that now seemed tainted by a secret that I was not meant to know. I began to scrutinize our shared life for signs I had overlooked. Had I ignored subtle hints? Had I been too trusting, too eager to believe in our happily ever after? The questions tormented me as I sat alone in the quiet of our home, surrounded by memories that now seemed bittersweet. I remember one particular night when the silence of our living room was broken only by the soft ticking of the clock. I sat on the couch, the hidden pregnancy test still burning like a brand on my mind, and I stared at the photo frame on the mantelpiece, a frame containing a picture of us from our wedding day. The smiles in that photograph now felt like a cruel mockery of the truth that was unraveling before me. I recalled the vows we exchanged, the words that promised loyalty, honesty, and a future filled with shared dreams. Yet here I was, facing a secret that shattered those promises and left me questioning everything I once held dear. In my desperate need for clarity, I began searching for answers. I started by retracing our steps, looking through our shared emails, text messages, and even old journals, hoping to find a clue that might explain the inexplicable. I combed through every detail of our conversations, every late-night phone call that he had brushed off with vague excuses. And slowly, a picture began to emerge. A picture of a man who had been leading a double life, a man who had hidden a secret relationship from me for reasons I couldn't yet fathom. The evidence was subtle at first, a missed call here, a cryptic text there, but it coalesced into a painful mosaic of deception. I recalled a time when he had left for what he called a late meeting, only to return with an unusual glow in his eyes and a lingering smile that I hadn't seen before. I remembered the nights he spent away from home, the way he seemed to avoid my gaze when I asked about his evening. It all added up to a truth that was too overwhelming to ignore. And then, of course, there was that hidden pregnancy test. A stark, unyielding symbol of a secret that had been carefully hidden away from me. As the shock subsided, I found myself gripped by a cold, relentless determination. I knew that I could no longer live in a world of half-truths and empty promises. I deserved to know the whole story, to understand the depth of the betrayal that had invaded our once happy life. I began to meticulously document every piece of evidence. The hidden messages, the odd phone calls, and any detail that hinted at the secret life he had been leading. I created a folder on my laptop labeled Truth, into which I saved screenshots of every conversation that now took on a painful clarity. Each new piece of evidence was like a shard of glass, cutting deeper into my trust but also strengthening my resolve to confront the reality that had been hidden from me. I reached out to my closest friend, someone whose unwavering support had always been a beacon in my darkest moments, and I confided in her everything. Over cups of coffee in a quiet cafe, I recounted the discovery of the pregnancy test and the mounting evidence of a hidden relationship. Her eyes filled with tears as she listened, and she gently reminded me, "You deserve a love that is honest and whole. Don't let these secrets define your future." Her words were a balm to my wounded heart, a reminder that while betrayal was painful, it also opened the door to reclaiming my life and rediscovering who I truly am. Bolstered by her encouragement, I resolved to confront him. I spent days preparing for the conversation, rehearsing my words until my voice, though quivering with emotion, became steady and resolute. "I trusted you, I practiced in front of the mirror, and you promised our future would be built on honesty. Now I see that promise was nothing but a lie." Every time I repeated those words, I felt a little more of the weight lift from my shoulders, a small, defiant act of reclaiming my self-worth. The day of the confrontation arrived on a chilly, overcast morning. Our home, which had once been a warm sanctuary of shared dreams, now felt oppressive with the silence of unspoken truths. I sat in the living room with the folder of evidence clutched tightly in my hands, my heart pounding as I awaited his return from what he once again claimed was a late work meeting. Every minute stretched out like an eternity. When he finally walked through the door, his face was a mask of calm, a facade I now recognized as carefully rehearsed. I took a deep breath and met his gaze, my voice steady but laced with the pain of betrayal. "We need to talk," I said simply. He paused, his eyes flickering with a fleeting glimpse of something I wished he could have hidden, guilt, maybe, or fear. I opened the folder and began to lay out the evidence, each piece a silent testament to the hidden life that had been built without my knowledge. I recounted every detail, the secret late-night calls, the mysterious pregnancy test, the cryptic messages, and I demanded to know the truth. "I trusted every word you said," I said, my voice trembling with heartbreak, "and you swore that our future was ours to build together. How could you betray me with lies and secrets?" His attempts to deflect, vague excuses about stress and miscommunication, fell flat in the face of the undeniable evidence I had gathered. The confrontation was a collision of raw emotion and shattered dreams, a moment when every promise of forever crumbled into dust. I saw the truth in his eyes, a truth that offered no comfort, no excuse, only the stark reality that our love was built on a foundation of deception. I felt my heart break as I listened to his feeble attempts at explanation, each one a hollow echo of the trust one had so dearly given. In that agonizing moment, I realized that the future we had planned was nothing more than an illusion, a beautiful lie that had been shattered by the harsh light of truth. In the aftermath of that painful revelation, I retreated into a solitude filled with sorrow and the slow, deliberate process of healing. I spent countless hours in our now silent home, each room a reminder of the dreams we had shared and the trust that had been so brutally betrayed. I poured my heart out in long, tear-stained journal entries, every word a cathartic release of the pain and a quiet affirmation that I was more than the sum of his lies. I sought solace in therapy, where I learned to navigate the turbulent sea of emotions that betrayal had unleashed within me. I began to understand that while the scars of deceit might never fully fade, they could become symbols of my resilience, a reminder that I had the strength to rise from the ashes of broken promises. My friends and family rallied around me, their supportive words and comforting embraces a lifeline in a time of deep despair. I began to share my story on a personal blog, writing candidly about the heartbreak and the painstaking journey toward reclaiming my life. The outpouring of support from strangers who had endured similar betrayals reaffirmed my belief that I was not alone, and that my worth was not defined by someone else's deceit. Every message, every note of encouragement, was a small beacon of hope that guided me through the darkness. As the months turned into a year, I slowly began to rebuild my life, piece by piece. I moved out of our shared home, a place that had once been filled with laughter and shared dreams, and into a modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood. I transformed that space into my sanctuary, filling it with vibrant colors, cherished mementos, and personal touches that reminded me of the woman I truly was, a resilient soul capable of immense love and even greater strength. I ventured back into the world of dating, cautiously allowing new connections to form while guarding my heart with the lessons I had learned from the betrayal. Each new smile, each genuine conversation, became a small victory, a step toward a future built on honesty and mutual respect. Now, as I sit in the soft, forgiving glow of my modest apartment, I reflect on the long, winding journey that brought me from the depths of betrayal to a place of quiet empowerment. The memory of that hidden receipt, the cold evidence of a secret life that I never signed up for, still stings like a fresh wound. But it also serves as a powerful reminder of my own strength, the strength to face the painful truth, to gather every shard of evidence and to rebuild my life on my own terms. Every sunrise is now a promise of new beginnings, a fresh canvas on which I paint the story of my resilience and self-respect. I have learned that betrayal, as devastating as it can also serve as a catalyst for transformation, a painful invitation to rediscover who I truly am beneath the layers of broken promises and shattered dreams. I now move forward with an unshakable conviction that I deserve a future built on truth, transparency, and genuine love, a future where my worth is honored and my trust is never again taken for granted. This is my story, a journey of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately the triumphant reclamation of my life. I trusted every word he said, built our future on promises that I believed were as solid as rock, and cherished every tender "I love you" as a vow meant to last a lifetime. But when I discovered that hidden receipt for a fancy restaurant, a receipt that revealed his so-called casual meetings with a mystery woman, I was forced to confront a truth that shattered my world. In that heart-wrenching moment, I found the courage to gather every piece of evidence, to face the painful reality, and to reclaim my future from the ruins of deception. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of raw, unfiltered pain has led me to this point, a place where I now stand as a survivor determined to build a future defined by honesty, respect, and the unyielding promise that I am worthy of a love that is real. Every new day is an opportunity to begin again, a chance to rewrite my story, to redefine my destiny, and to embrace the future with a heart that beats with hope and a spirit unbroken by betrayal. I have learned that while the scars of deceit may always remain, they are not marks of defeat but symbols of the strength that carried me through the darkest nights. I am the architect of my own destiny, and with every sunrise, I choose to live a life filled with transparency, genuine love, and the unwavering belief that I deserve nothing less than a future built on truth.